Hello, first graders. This is Mrs. Miller here today with your Social Studies lesson, Social Studies Lesson 3, where we'll be talking about rules and laws. Let me ask you, what are some rules in your home? In just a moment, I'm going to ask you to say some rules in your home across 3 fingers. So try to think of 3 rules that you have in your home. Let me think of rules that I have in my home. Let's see. Always clean up after yourself. That's an important one. Always use kind words. And another rule that I have in my home is to make sure we have like a stool that we use in our kitchen. And one time I left it out and my husband tripped over it. So now we have a rule, always put the stool away. Can you think of 3 rules in your home and right now name them across your fingers? Ready, set, go. One, two, three, eyes on me. So I'm willing to bet that a lot of us have some of the same rules in our home. And rules, remember, they're meant to keep us safe. They're meant to make sure that everybody is getting along. And rules at home also probably help your home to run more smoothly and keep it clean. Who makes the rules in your home? Do your parents make the rules? Do they ask you to help them make the rules? Now, what is a law? Have you heard the word law before? Maybe you've heard people talk about breaking the law. Don't break the law. What do you think a law is? Well, I'll tell you. A law is simply a rule made by government with the help of citizens. Let's watch this video, Writing and Enforcing Laws, to learn more.
I guess the government has a pretty big job writing all those laws down for the towns and cities.
Yeah, that they do, son, but they do have help. See, all those towns and cities, they got smaller governments of their own. It makes it a tad easier on the bigger governments, know that the smaller governments are able to make the rules and laws that directly affect them.
Wow, I want to be in the government right now so that I can write my own laws.
Doesn't exactly work that way, youngster. See, first of all, laws are written for everybody, not just one person. Secondly, I think you better get a few more notches on that birthday belt of yours so you'll be old enough to know which laws need to be written. Folks take a fancy to electing those who actually have some experience.
Electing? You mean voting?
If you want to be in the law-making part of the government, you have to be elected.
Laws are made to keep people safe and protect their property and rights. When we vote, we elect people to help us make laws for our country. Our national laws are usually made by the United States Congress. It is their main job. Every state votes for people to go to Congress to help make laws. These people are called representatives and senators. They help make the laws that everyone in the country must follow. Most states make their laws the same way laws are made for our country. Representatives from all over the state come together to create laws that they think will better protect the people in their community. The laws made for each state have to be followed by everyone in that state. However, a law made in one state is not always the same as the law in another state. And the laws made in your community are only for the people in your community and people visiting your community. In most communities, the city leaders or a town council makes the laws. Everyone in your city must follow these laws. But everyone can also be a part of making a law too. People in the community are called citizens. Citizens can write a letter to their town council or have people sign a letter called a petition to try to make or change a law. If you lived on a busy street, you might see that a stop sign would help protect the children who cross the street to get to the park. You could write a letter explaining the need for a stop sign, or you could start a petition and have all your neighbors sign it. You would send your letter or petition to the city council. They would read it and maybe ask for citizens to attend a city council meeting where they would discuss the need for a stop sign. After reading the petition and hearing from the citizens, the city council would make a decision. Then the people of the city would have to follow the new rule or law. They would have to stop at the new stop sign. Sometimes people do not follow the law. If you don't follow the law, you may be punished. Police officers help enforce the laws in your community. They help make sure that people do not break the laws. If someone breaks the law, a police officer might give them a ticket or make them go to court to see a judge. The judge decides whether or not a person has broken a law. When people break the law, they may face consequences. A consequence is something that happens because of something a person does. Sometimes the consequence for breaking a rule is that you get hurt. Your parents might tell you not to climb on the chair to get the cookies out of the cupboard. That is a rule. If you break that rule, you might fall and get hurt. Sometimes getting hurt is enough of a consequence to remind you of just how important it is to follow rules. But often, getting hurt is not enough of a consequence.
As I was saying,
when you break the law, a judge decides what your consequence should be. The judge wants to make sure that the consequence keeps you from breaking the law again. Sometimes a judge makes someone pay money if they have broken the law. This is called a fine. When a person drives too fast, they often have to pay money as a consequence. People do not like having to pay money. So this consequence often encourages people to follow the rules. The next time this person gets in their car, they are likely to obey the speed laws. Sometimes, though, paying money is not enough of a consequence. Some laws are so important that the people who break them have to be put in jail. A judge often decides to send a person to jail if their crime hurt another person.
So this video taught us about how laws are made and what happens if you break the law. As we learned, there could be consequences for breaking the law, like you could have to pay a fine or a ticket, or if you break a law that could hurt somebody else, you could even be arrested. Now, I had mentioned earlier that we have local officials. So what exactly does that mean? Well, in Elwood School District, we all live in the Huntington Township, and it has its own local government. This is the Huntington Township. You could see here where we are located on Long Island. Around Huntington Township are all the other townships on Long Island. And this is what our Huntington Town Hall looks like. You might have driven past it if you've ever driven into Huntington Village. These are our elected officials. Citizens like your parents vote on our local elected officials. Everyone in Huntington Township must follow Huntington Township laws. Can you name the state where we live? See if you can name it. I'm going to count down from 3 to 1. When I get to 1, if you know the state where we live, call it out. 3, 2, 1. If you said New York State, you are correct. We live in New York State, and this is what our state looks like. We live way down here on Long Island, but New York State is a rather large state. Our state capital is located in Albany. Our state government is located in Albany too. So again, here's where we live, and Albany is where our state government is located. It's all the way up here where you see that star. This is what the Capitol building looks like. That's where our state officials work, all of the people who were elected for New York to represent New York State. And these are our elected officials. You've probably seen them on TV. Our governor is Andrew Cuomo. You have probably seen him a lot on the news lately. Everyone in New York State must follow New York State laws. Can you name the country where we live? I'm going to count down again from 3 to 1. When I get to 1, if you know the country where we live, I want you to call it out. 3, 2, 1. If you said the United States of America, you are right. We live in the United States of America. This is our United States flag, and these are all of the states within the United States of America. Our national government is located in Washington, D.C. The national government takes care of things that impact our whole entire country. If you are learning from home, you'll find this activity sheet in your Google Classroom. If you're learning in school, your teacher will give it to you. Let's go through it together. Okay, so the first thing we do is always the same. We pick up our pencil and write down our name. So I'm going to write my name, always starting with a capital letter. And I'm going to write the date, September. Now for me, it's September 17th, but it's probably a different date for you. So check to see what your date is. Okay, this sheet says Grade 1 Social Studies Lesson 3, Rules and Laws. And it says name one rule that you have at home. Draw a picture to go with your sentence. So let's see, one rule that I have at home is clean up after yourself. So I'm going to write that sentence. Clean up after yourself. Period. We always end every sentence with punctuation. Let me check now. Did I write every word that I wanted to write? Clean up after yourself. Yes. And did I start with a capital? Yes. And I ended with punctuation. Okay. Then I would draw my picture. The next part says name one law that we must follow. Draw a picture to go with your sentence. So let me think of a law. Can you think of a law that you have to follow or that your parents have to follow? Turn and tell somebody near you what law you can think of. Go ahead. Okay, so let me see. Well, I know one law that I have to follow is always stop at red lights. Always stop at a red light. So I'm going to write that sentence. Always, starting with a capital, stop at a red light. Period. Now let me check that I wrote all my words and then I start with a capital. Yes, I start with a capital. I ended with punctuation. Always stop at a red light. Okay, and now I'm ready for my picture. Thank you so much for joining me today to learn about rules and laws. I will see you next time. Have a great day, everybody.